You're
Well,
right.
well, then you got a guy like Coop, who you played for, I believe,
Yeah.
all 6 years, right? Who's I don't know how many years now he's been there, but he's been there, from the minor leagues and help build out that organization there. That doesn't happen very often either, right? I mean, a guy that be able to sustain his job like that, and obviously a respected coach. Maybe talk a little bit about Coop, since we're talking about coaching.
Yeah, I mean, and I think you're right. Yeah, Coop's approach is different, right? I think he's one of the more, he communicates and things like that, but you never hear him really yelling and screaming, anything like that. The thing about Coop, a good story about him is, so I get traded from New York to Tampa. So I got traded, whatever, noon, 2:00. I'm on a flight at 7, flying to Tampa. I get into Tampa probably about 10:30ish, whatever it was, and I'm going down to baggage claim looking for my driver. I'm expecting New York style, guy standing there with my name on it or whatever, and John Cooper standing there 10:30 at night waiting for me. So I'm like, holy cow, not too many head coaches are there at 10:30 at night waiting for a guy you just traded for. So he hopped in his car. We had a long conversation. He brought me to the rink. Dropped my gear off. We talked for a while in the car ride. Dropped me off my hotel. So that's just like a glimpse of what he's like. You know what I mean? And they've had some really good teams there. He's a very intelligent coach. I mean, his X's and O's and his changing within a game, within a series. He's very, very intelligent coach in that manner. But yeah, he was a lot of fun to play for. He was great. Easy to talk to, great guy. So it was fun. And then funny story too, we're at the rink and we're in the room. He's like, tomorrow night, first game, he's like, you're going to be playing with Filppula. And then this young kid, Nikita Kucherov, we think he's going to be a really good player. Like a lot of high hope for him. He's a really high skilled player, And at the time, like, oh, okay, he's got to be, skilled, But now fast forward, look at Kuch.
So. No doubt.
He's not bad.
He's not bad. Yeah. Proof to be right.
So you're saying Coop could scout too?
Yeah. Exactly. And that was part of the reason too. Is like, so you're right. He was in, I believe it was Norfolk with all those guys, like
that's right.
Johnson, Palat, all those guys, Killorn.
Right.
And they won there, and then that kind of core came up, and that was part of the reason why I wanted to stay in Tampa so bad. Is like my agent was pushing me, get to free agency after going through that disaster in New York of contract negotiations. He's like, let's get to free agency, and I was like, no, I want to stay in Tampa. We have an unbelievable team. Like, we got a chance to win. I'm walking to the rink in shorts, t-shirt, flip flops. I'm like, I'm not leaving this place, So I ended up signing with them right after that year was done, but yeah, they got something special going down there in Tampa. Owner Jeff Finnick is best owner in sports, I think. I mean,
wow.
The way he handles that team and the support he gives them. When I got traded, he called me too. He said, I don't really get called from the owner as well, and he calls and he's like, I apologize. I know you're very busy. I don't want to take up your time. I'm like, really owner of the team. Like,
right.
You're spending my paychecks. You can take all the time you want, but this is the kind of guy he is. And Tampa's got a great thing going there.
Yeah,
they did a hell of a job. Like going back to, as you mentioned, when Coop was in Norfolk, just like the drafts and just the way they scouted and brought and found these diamond in the rough players and just built this core group of guys that is obviously still a large chunk of that team. So it's amazing to watch and to see it. When I was coaching the Flyers minor league team, the Phantoms at the time, and just how many games did they win in a row? Like that
they
Norfolk
set the
team,
record.
I think they set the record like 26, 27.
Past your year, when the lockout year, when we had
17, so they blew that out of the water, and they were just unstoppable.
Yeah,
and then more than half those guys go on. I mean, you go back to even Radko Gudas. Like he was there. It's pretty wild. So so I can see how he's still in the mix there because he was part of cultivating that.
Yeah, absolutely.
That culture there. So pretty interesting stuff. What do you got now?
Well, I was going to say, like, he brought up Kucherov, obviously. It's ridiculous. I remember one night I was like kind of watching him, and he almost looks like he's kind of floating, but then if he sees a chance, like it's like boom,
shark.
And and I just remember, I don't remember who I was on the bench when I'm like, this guy's got 3 points as the first period. He looked like he hasn't broken a sweat. Like, what the fuck?
Like the All-Star game?
Yeah, it was like an All-Star. Yeah, this year is All-Star. The challenge, the skills. No, but like, obviously, like, I'm not saying he doesn't play hard. He obviously plays hard, but it was just, he's so skilled and gifted. Like you said, man, he it's like he sees those chances and like he reads them ahead maybe
Oh,
of other
yeah.
guys. I don't know,
That's the
but
gift.
like he's obviously a special
you and I
player
don't
and you
have.
play. Yeah, right. You're like that in men's league.
Oh, yeah. I'm a shark in men's league. Yeah.
All leagues lead to men's league, Cal.
Yeah,
we
right.
can fly you in because we lost the championship this year. We didn't even make it to the championship this year. Riggs was on that. Riggs was on the IR. So
yeah,
no, but speaking of Kucherov and like I was going to bring up Stammer, like playing with a guy like that, and he's a hell of a player as well. Still putting pucks in the net. Not to say I don't want to say he's old, but he's been around. He's getting up there, but man, he's still performing.
Yeah, no, he is. Stammer's great. I mean, he's awesome. Close friend. He's one of the guys that I got really close to when I was there in Tampa. We did a lot of rehabs together as well, which made us pretty tight. And what impresses me about Stammer is watching him through those rehabs, everything that he went through. I mean, he dealt with some big injuries. His knees, the meniscus. He missed basically the whole year with that. The blood clot he had. Obviously, before I was there, the rod in his leg. When he hit that post, he missed the Olympics that year because of it.
That's right.
And him working through all that and then still coming out the other side of it, and arguably, this might have been 2 or 3 of his most productive years he's had in the league. Right? These last couple of years after these injuries, he's been healthy. He's played almost every game, so it's not like health is a thing anymore. And even watching the playoffs this year, I thought Stammer was the best player on that team. The way he was going. So, he's a special player, and I hope he gets back in Tampa. I mean, I don't know anything inside or anything like that, but it'd be a shame if they don't find a way to sign him. Everything he's brought to that organization from the days where it was a complete disaster. When he first to winning 2 Stanley Cups, captain of the team, face of the franchise. It'd be a shame if they don't find a way to sign him. But
I agree.
I'm talking about a guy like Cooch, and you're right. He doesn't do it like a McDavid does it or a McKinnon, right, where they're come flying at you with this speed and strength. He does. He almost floats out there, and he's got like this swagger to him that he's just kind of always just like shoulders are always bobbing, and he gets the puck. He almost reminds me a little bit like of a Patrick Kane in that like he gets that. You don't know when he's going to shoot it. He's kind of his vision's really good vision that he doesn't get credit for. Sees the ice well. But yeah, and not that you brought up the All-Star game. I loved it. I thought it was because that's Cooch. He doesn't, he don't give a shit. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm sure he started buying into it as soon as they started booing. He's probably like,
he's loving it.
Yeah,
that's it, right? He's laughing about it. I can guarantee you, he's dying laughing about it. So he's a good dude as well. But I was watching it at home here and I was dying because that's good. Like, there he is. It's awesome.
There he is, the
ultimate troll right now.
You talk about Stammer going through some injuries. I was gonna bring up quickly in the playoffs when you had the emergency appendectomy and you played 5 days later. That's a hockey player. Like,
that's wild.
I mean, you had other injuries as well, obviously, but like that was wild. I remember that. I'm like, oh my God, like that had to be pretty scary for you if you didn't know exactly what it was, like when it came up.
Yeah, it was weird. I mean, we were in between Game 5 and Game 6 of the Montreal series in the second round.
Yeah.
Kind of all day, just like had a stomach ache or whatever. I had no appetite, whatever. I didn't think anything of it. And then I was actually giving the kids a bath, my young kids, and I started really hurting. So I called our trainer, Molly, and I'm like, hey, Molly, like, I don't know what's happening. I don't know if I got, stomach bug or whatever. He's like, well, where's it hurt? And I kind of told him, he's like, all right. He's like, lay down on the ground, push on the spot and then release up quick. So I'm like, all right, I don't even know what he's, trying to figure out here. So I do it. He's like, does it hurt? I'm like, that hurts. He's like, when you released or push? I'm like, when I release, he's like, shit. He goes, that's your appendix. He goes, got to get to the hospital. I'm like, come on. Like, so I luckily I lived on, I don't know if you like Davis Island, the hospital right basically on that island. So I was there in 2 minutes, get to the hospital. They take me right in, start doing scans or whatever. And they're like, hey, you got to have your appendix out. Hopefully it didn't burst, which it didn't. So I could just do it laparoscopically or whatever. Quick procedure. But I remember I was sitting there before I even got surgery, it was on Twitter, like Callahan had it, you know what I mean? I'm like, what the hell?
How do they know?
He's like, there's a mole in the hospital that's just let it out, or whatever.
Oh, sure.
Wow.
But yeah, I mean, so we went up winning Game 6. And 2 or 3 days later, we had Game 1 against the Rangers. And I mean, there's no way I wasn't going to be in the
I was going to say that's,
and it's funny. some of the guys in New York told me the story. They're in the training room, and a couple of the guys I didn't play with, like, Kelly had an appendectomy. He's probably going to be out for game one. And the guys are telling me that I played, like, he's not going to be out for game one. He's going to play game one. Kelly's not missing a game in this series. He'll be out there. But
and you guys beat him in 7, right?
We beat him in 7 at the Garden. Yeah, that was cool. That was
cool. Yeah.
Talk about one win, especially, that was probably my, my greatest moment, like, best win I had was, because I had the whole story going into game 7, Lundqvist can't be beat, game 7 at home, the Rangers can't be beat. And that was part of some of those game 7s that we won at home, So to go into that building and, and get that win, it was special.